new favorite roller skating and media podcast featuring yours truly, Rebel
and Sydney.
Coming to you live with a new episode where we talk about Xanadu.
Obviously, that's why we had to sing the intro, because it's a movie musical.
A movie musical.
Oh boy.
Oh man, are we in for a treat?
Oh, I just cannot put into words how crazy this musical is.
I was not okay. Have you seen this before?
I have never seen this movie.
Me neither.
In my life, I've only ever heard about it, and it's been rave reviews.
Rave reviews, like best roller skating movie ever.
Oh my god! If you love roller skating, this is a movie for you.
You're gonna love it. Xanadu is the best. Do you think that Xanadu is the best?
I would say it's not the best, no. And not by a long shot in terms of roller skating movie, and probably not even in terms of movie.
Okay, have you seen Xanadu? Put it in the comments below,
yes,
because we need to know if you've seen it or if you just watched it for this, because wow, we have things to talk about.
So many things.
I don't even know where to start.
I think I would like to say I talked to my future in-laws about this movie because they were so excited that we were doing it. They're
really?
Like, we love it so much. It's so great. The soundtrack's amazing. It's ELO. You're gonna love it so much. And I won't lie, I like the music.
I like the music.
The music's great.
Yeah, there were a couple songs where I was like, oh,
yeah,
catchy.
A bop.
Yeah, a bop.
But the movie itself is totally just 80s fever dream.
Absolutely. I do think that, it gives that genre I think it does the genre justice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's definitely so many elements of a 1940s movie musical too, which makes a lot of sense because Gene Kelly is there and it feels right for some reason.
I was like, how do I know this man? How do I know this man? How do I know this man? Oh, it's Gene Kelly?
Gene Kelly.
It's Gene Kelly.
I know. He gives his little smile and you're like,
I recognize that guy. Singing in the rain.
Singing in the rain.
Yeah.
And then they had to put in a tap number too.
So many tap numbers. I was like, am I watching a variety show? I was fully like, where did the roller skating come from? Where did the tap dancing coming from? What's happening on the screen right now?
Yeah, there's so much.
My notes, half of them are like, what? Oh my god, I'm dead at. Oh my, okay, I'm dead. Oh my god. It says it 10 times in my notes.
That was pretty much how I felt, and I watched this movie not sober, but I could have been less sober than I was, and it still would feel like a just absolute crazy amalgamation.
I did feel like the same when I was watching it. I felt similar to the way I felt when I watched Cats.
Yeah.
Which was, what? I just felt like I shouted what at the screen many times.
I mean, I don't even know where to start. I guess
should we give a basic overview? Xanadu is a 1980 American musical fantasy film written by Richard Christian Danis, is that how you pronounce his name? I don't know, and Mark Reed Rubel, and directed by Robert Greenwald. The film stars Olivia Newton-John, Michael Beck, and Gene Kelly in his final film role. Oh! Aww. If you were to summarize Xanadu in one sentence, how would you summarize the plot?
A muse comes to life and tricks two men into opening a roller rink.
That is exactly what happens. Zeus's muse comes to life, and her sole purpose is to make Xanadu happen.
Yeah.
Which is a roller rink made by two artists, and then she falls in love with one of them, but muses don't fall in love.
Yeah, so that
muses inspire.
They inspire.
They don't
They
fall
don't
in love
fall in
themselves.
love with themselves. They can't stay in the real world.
They don't get to stay in the real world, so then
Yeah.
she obviously has to leave. And that's the summary of
That is the
Xanadu.
summary of Xanadu. Yeah.
So let's talk about it then.
That is probably where we start on this journey.
Wild ride. Buckle up, kids.
So to start out, there's this artist. He's sketching a beautiful picture of a woman, and then he just rips it up and throws it out the window.
away.
And we're like, who's that man?
And that was actually a very nice piece of art.
Yeah, he was like, this isn't for me. And
Yeah,
you're
just
like, that was
very
a great picture.
so drama.
What's wrong with
Better
it?
than anything I've ever drawn in my life.
So just a dramatic white man, and that's how we start.
Yeah, and it's like, here's some introductory credits.
Yeah. Flash to a mural that comes to
That
life.
you don't realize is a mural at first.
Yeah.
I thought it was an oil painting or something. And it is a mural, and not only is it a mural, it looks like a tapestry taped to the wall. Or like hung up on the wall.
Yeah.
Like when you actually see it at the end, spoiler alert, I mean we already said we would be spoiling it, but like when you actually see the mural at the end, it's like, that's not real.
No.
It's like either hung up or superimposed. It's definitely not that anything in this movie is real. It's set in Venice.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's in Venice, but do they ever say it's Venice?
No, they never mention it's Los Angeles or Venice, but you can clearly tell from
The film elements
of it, and
like the
there's a moment where they're at
Hollywood
the Hollywood
moment.
Bowl too.
Yeah.
And you're like, how did they sneak in there? That doesn't make any sense. But okay.
Okay, so the mural.
Yes.
There are women in the mural dressed like what I thought was, I don't know what I thought at this point. They're goddesses.
Yeah.
They're muses. They are muses. But that's a reveal. Like, we don't know what they are right now. We just are seeing these women on this mural, and then their outlines are lit up in like neon.
Yeah, and that's a very like common visual motif that comes back throughout the entire film. Is
Yes.
that if you see an outline, it's a muse.
Yes, which is a very clear indication. And now I'm like, oh, nice. I
Yeah.
could track it through very easily. But yeah, it's a thing. I remember thinking, okay, what I put was, my notes say, oh my god, the coming alive sequence, I want to make this.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to remake it in my skates was immediately my thought. And then my second thought was, what is happening?
Yeah. Just who are these women? They're alive now, apparently.
The song is Coming Alive,
Yeah.
or I'm Alive.
I'm alive.
I'm alive. And
Yeah.
we're like, okay, so the mural is coming alive.
We got it.
But that's like all you got.
No.
And that was like immediately following this like man
Yeah.
artist throwing away his art.
Right. So first of all, it's like such a brief introduction to the main character. That's the main character of the film. And then it's like, we're gone now, we don't care. And we're with these ladies now that come to life out of a mural. And then Olivia Newton-John is dancing around. She's having a great time.
She comes to life out of the mural.
Exactly. Really, she's the star of the film, but for whatever reason, we're following this man the whole time. And
Which
that makes no sense to me.
Absolutely would be more interesting if it was centered on Olivia Newton-John.
Olivia Newton-John comes to life from the mural. She skates off.
Okay. She's roller skating.
She's just roller skating. All of a
Why?
sudden.
There's no reason for the roller skating in this film. Not that I'm opposed to random
No,
roller skating.
no.
I am absolutely for random roller skating.
Yeah.
There is no reason for her to be roller skating. So she roller skates off, and then
Yeah. And then she comes up and meets the main character that we met very briefly. Kisses him.
Kisses him out of nowhere.
And
Just
skates
like,
away.
But like runs into him, like skates.
Yeah.
So she's roller skating, and then there's just this light behind her, which
Yeah.
indicates that she's a muse, I'm guessing. And then she just like, the light like fades out, and she like runs into him in a very unsafe manner.
Yeah.
Like in a way that you would be super mad if someone
Yeah.
ran into you.
I feel like
Like
what
full
the
back
hell?
hit.
Yeah.
And then turns him around, kisses him, and then just skates away. And not only skates away, disappears.
Yeah.
Like, you watch
In a
her,
flash of light.
you watch her disappear. Fade in. Fade out. And that's the beginning of the film.
First of all, how did he not question any of that? And just off the bat, surprise kiss, no consent given, skates away.
And then he turns around and is in love.
He's like, I'm in love with this woman.
I'm in love with this woman.
She just kissed me. We're in love now. I gotta meet her again.
Can't imagine even remembering what this woman looks like, because let me tell you, his back was towards her.
Yeah.
She turns him around and kisses him very quickly, like a light peck, and then skates away. And so he must have seen her face for what? 0.2 seconds?
Yeah.
And then saw her back, which is a blonde roller skating?
Yeah. In Venice, there's like a million of those.
And like, you see them in the film.
Yeah.
Like, there's like a bunch of roller skaters.
I don't know why that wasn't more of like a plot point, is like going up to every roller skater and be like, are you that girl that kissed me yesterday?
I was shocked that Gene Kelly's character wasn't more like, this is weird.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, well, things happen.
You gotta find her.
Yeah, he was like, if I said that was, he goes, is this weird? One, this random guy is he's playing the clarinet
yeah,
at the beach. And then he goes up to this guy who's playing the clarinet.
Which I need to say, Mondo is watching the movie with me and he says, oh, does Gene Kelly know how to play the clarinet? And the scene is Gene Kelly just going, like, no, he so obviously does not. Like, if I did that in front of you, you would not say Sydney knows how to play the clarinet. Even if it was clarinet noises under me doing, like, it was just too much.
I can't. One, who plays clarinet, like, actively sitting on rocks on the beach? Isn't sand gonna get into your musical
in the reed,
interest? Like
it's a woodwind. Like, I don't really know how it works.
I'm not a clarinet player, so I don't know, but
I don't see many clarinet players like busking in general. I would say.
I don't. Yeah. So he goes up to him and he's essentially like, they're just like talking or something, right?
He's just asking, have you seen this girl that I ran into?
Which is like, one, you don't know this man. Two, how is he gonna know this random girl that you,
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. There's a certain point in between meeting Gene Kelly and like, I don't know, learning who this character is, where we find out he's a painter, he works for like a record label, and he finds a record cover with
I forgot
on it.
I forgot about that. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, so his job, which is wild. I was just thinking like how wild this is, that this is his job. His job is to take albums, like album covers, and then paint them large for the front of the record store. That's his job.
Yeah, it's to recreate a photograph of an album cover, which I guess
it makes sense if you don't have a
giant
copier,
printer,
I guess, or
like it must be really expensive to get those enlarged. Like, I don't know.
Wild.
It's the 80s.
It didn't exist yet? Question mark. I just think, oh my god, I can't believe that it was cheaper to like hire someone to paint it large, wild.
Yeah, my theory is those artists must have been severely underpaid.
Well, because he comes back. Okay, so I forgot about this plot point, but one plot point is that he had like tried to go make it as a freelance artist, and had left, and then he came back, and he was like, oh, I got out there and I was uninspired.
Yeah. I guess that's what we see at the beginning, is him being uninspired.
Oh, but that makes sense.
It doesn't read. So you're just confused.
Read. I mean, it does not read. Absolutely not. Olivia Newton-John on the album cover, and he's like, who is this? And he's like researching, like he's like asking all these people, who is this woman? I'm trying to find her. And then he ends up having lunch with the clarinet guy.
And there's another plot point that I have to bring up because it bothers me so much. is whilst talking to Gene Kelly, he spots Olivia Newton-John skating around, and he runs up to a woman, steals her bike basically, is like, "Can I borrow this?" and drives it off a pier.
Oh yeah!
Because he's chasing Olivia Newton-John, who skates off the pier, no questions asked. He just follows her off the pier on a bike. And Gene Kelly's like, kids, am I right?
Gene Kelly's like, hey, next time, don't drive it into any... Oh, don't look for her underwater, is what he says.
I'm like...
Like, what? And at this point, I forgot that she just, like, skates off and, like, disappears.
Yeah.
But at this point, I'm thinking, is Gene Kelly some sort of, like, angel character? Because why would you be answering like that to some random man? I don't know. I don't know.
They just, they met each other and they're like, we're both artists, so we get it.
we get each other.
We're buds now.
Yeah, I like it. Can I just take a moment to say that not everyone's roller skating. There are lots of people who are roller skating in this film that are excellent roller skaters. Olivia Newton-John, on the other hand, may she rest in peace.
Yes.
Did a terrible job at roller skating. And so did, what's his name? Michael Beck.
Michael Beck,
also a terrible roller skater. I was like, bend your knees. Oh my God, this is so dangerous.
They're skating around locked knees.
Just like this. And then like Michael Beck is like literally using his toe stops to push off. Like they're not striding at all.
Correctly.
And then they like, I think also what bothered me is that and again, no offense to any of these people, like they did a better job than I could do. But like the filming of the roller skating itself, I was like, why is that what you chose to film?
Right.
Like, and I see this a lot actually in media in general with roller skating, is that videographers who aren't roller skaters or aren't skaters, like, don't know what to capture. So they capture these, like, weird, awkward things that maybe they are cool to non-skaters, but to skaters, they are, like, just that awkward. And, like one of the moves, not to jump forward, but, like, in the very end, there's, like, clearly this artistic skater who, like, definitely knows what they're doing.
Right.
And instead of catching, like, the best part of her spin, they caught like the prep, and then like as she's like about to, you can tell, like really hit the spin, they just like cut away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Why? There was so much of it that was so
weird.
Odd. And I don't, like, not knowing anything about this movie, I thought Olivia Newton-John was gonna be a really good roller skater. And I could not have been more wrong. Like, my whole life, I thought Olivia Newton-John could really skate because she was in that movie. But that is not the truth.
Yeah, I thought that they would get, like, a stunt double or something, but no. No, they did not.
I guess they had no concerns about that.
No concerns.
All.
I think that they were just like, roller skating, this looks great. Which they're not wrong.
No.
Like, it did look really cool, and I was like, oh, nice. And I think that it, like, I thought there was something cool to be said about the fact that it is roller skating infused, but they never mention it. Like, they're never like, oh, you're wearing roller skates. Like, there's never that moment. It's just kind of like, these people exist on their roller skates, and, like, for fun, they go roller skating. And I love that part about it. I love the nuance to that.
Yeah, normally I feel like when you give, like, a character, especially when it comes to, like, a woman or a love interest in a film, if you give a character, like, a quirky thing, like roller skating, it's gonna be brought up as much as possible, and it's gonna be like, me and my roller skates, I'm just so different.
Just a roller skater.
Like, I'm just not like those other girls, because I skate. And it was not at all like that. I mean, she's not like the other girls, but that's because she's a literal muse.
Yeah, like, she is absolutely not like the other girls. I thought what was really fun was the casual sketching that happens.
Yeah.
In the, like, beginning-ish.
Yes.
When he, like, there's, like, I don't know what, some guy in a van, and he, like, goes to talk to him,
And he's like, can I sketch on your van?
Well, yeah, and he like floats up, and I was like, and I think that's the first time we see him on roller skates.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wait, he moved like he was on roller skates.
Right.
And I was like, he's got to be on roller skates. If not, that's a blooper. And then he's like, wait, can I get a ride? And he's like, sure, hop on. And I was like, this is amazing. I love this casual sketching.
It was honestly the most like roller skate.
Yeah,
thing,
that was
like,
very
part of the movie to me.
That made me feel like
sketching.
I identify with that.
Yeah.
Like I definitely enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
And that mixed with the like casualness of roller skating intertwined with their experience, I think those were really, really interesting, fascinating, and like cool choices that were made.
Definitely. I agree. I think that I would qualify this as a movie musical / dance movie, honestly, because there's way more dancing in this film than I even expected, to be honest, for a musical, because sometimes movie musicals really phone it in on the dancing and they just sing and it's fun. But this one was
very dance heavy. I loved it. I loved all the dancing. And I loved the costumes.
Yeah, the costumes are really, really fun.
There's this like clothes scene.
I love a shopping scene. I love a makeover scene.
We love a scene like that. And the choreography was impeccable.
Yeah.
I was like, that woman is hanging off of like a clothes rack. And they like moved in and out. The people that were in the clothing scene were like in these amazing like kind of David Bowie-esque outfits with this like incredible makeup, like the costuming. I was so obsessed with.
It was really cool, and the scene in particular is like, Gene Kelly's gotta find an outfit because he's so old, am I right? He doesn't know how to pick clothes.
Which, you know what? I'm not mad at it. I would watch it again.
Yeah.
I loved that scene.
And my favorite part is like the start, they're looking at the mannequins, and then true 80s like cracked up fashion, they come to life.
They come to life. Absolutely. And I thought, is this an LA Roller Girls gig that I'm in? Like, I was just like, this feels like something I would get hired to do. Like, stand in a thing and then be like, ah,
I'm alive.
I'm alive. I'm alive. Let me help you shop, sir. Like, just wild.
Oh, man. Yeah, the whole plot of Gene Kelly, like, just Gene Kelly's plot in general is crazy, because we also realize that Gene Kelly has met Olivia Newton-John when he was younger. And she totally gaslights him when he's like, don't I know you? And she's like, what?
She's like, no.
I've never met you before. What are you talking about?
Like, Gene Kelly's character, I don't even know what his actual character name is.
I don't either.
I don't know. But
he's
like,
Gene Kelly.
He's Gene Kelly. He plays the clarinet, and then like at some point the main guy character, who I also don't know what his character name is,
Sonny,
that's
is
right.
His name. Yeah.
So Sonny at some point figures out that Gene Kelly is like a famous clarinet player.
Yeah.
And like lives in this house.
Right. And lives very comfortably. Basically finds out he's rich.
And he's like, oh, I guess I'm not a struggling artist. I guess he found us out.
Ha ha
ha. And then he has this very like cute sequence where he like plays music that was clearly something that him and his wife or love or whatever performed.
I think it's supposed to be Olivia Newton-John.
Is it supposed to be Olivia? I was trying to figure that out. Yeah. So they're just...
So basically, like, you realize that Olivia Newton-John was his muse.
Oh.
And that for music, though.
I was trying to figure that out, but I wasn't sure because I have a hard time telling white blonde women apart.
But also, it's just hard to tell because it's so, like, seemingly random that you're just like, this fantasy scene is happening now.
Yeah, I thought it was just him being, like, sad.
Yeah.
But I get it now that you said that. That makes a lot of sense.
I feel like half of this podcast is gonna be us telling each
Figuring
other
out,
plot
like,
points and be like,
different parts of it.
that's what they meant.
Oh, I get it now. Yeah, I can totally see that, and I think that makes it a cooler, like, plot line.
Yeah. I do love that scene because I grew up on Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers and Gene Kelly. So, like, if you throw a tap number in a movie, I'm yours. I'm like, this is amazing.
Also, we love her outfit. It was like...
It's amazing.
And what is that? How do you even describe that? The button up, the pencil skirt. It's kind of
very,
like army-esque.
Yeah, it's definitely supposed to be like the girls that went on tour with like the army bands and like sang and danced with them to like support the troops and cheer up the troops and things like that.
Absolutely reminded me of, what's that movie? That winter Christmas movie? Snow, 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 snow. Yeah. It reminded me of White Christmas. It reminded me of White Christmas, like a lot of the different vibes.
I mean, and that makes a lot of sense because I think that Gene Kelly's character is supposed to be like, I mean, literally in that scene when they're imagining the different like bandstands, he's like, it's the 1940s, and that's what it's supposed to be like. In a lot of the scenes, you feel like you're watching an older movie musical, like Singing in the Rain or like Follow the Fleet or one of those things, movies like that, and it's clearly very intentional, and I think that it's really funny to see where the overlap is on also the like crazy movie musicals of the 80s because this movie was not at all critically received well.
That makes sense.
They did not like it. They literally made up an award show for bad movies because of Xanadu.
Wait, is that real?
Yes, that is 100% real. Yes,
the
Golden Raspberry Award and
was
Xanadu
because of this
movie. So this was one of the movies that inspired that, and I mean, you can see why, and it like makes. I can see it's a cult classic now. Like it's on the same level as like a Rocky Horror.
Absolutely.
And maybe if I had grown up watching this movie like I grew up watching Rocky Horror, I would maybe feel a bit more like attached and like, this is great, I love it. But because I have that separation, you're like, oh my god, this movie's just crazy.
There is absolutely a point in this movie when they are dancing together. Sunny and Kira are dancing together, the main characters. They're in this movie set, which, by the way, I desperately want to skate in.
Yeah.
Like, she skates in an empty warehouse. Okay, picture this. Maybe this is why roller skaters like this movie.
Yeah.
You're living your life, and what you do with your spare time, you found this abandoned warehouse that has nice, beautiful, wonderful floors, and you just go and you skate in there. It's huge.
Yeah.
There's so much space. You just skate in there, and you're like, I like to skate in here because nobody bothers me.
I mean,
yes, please.
That does seem like a dream, and truly, I think the best skating that Olivia Newton-John does is in that
warehouse. Absolutely. She's like doing an arabesque.
It's so. I was like,
great.
This is what it's gonna be like the whole time.
Absolutely not. No, it is not that at all. But. So, like, they go back, or not to that location, but they go to a different location that's, like, a movie set, and they, like, get in this UFO-looking thing, hit a switch. This is clearly where they have, like, photo shoots for the album covers or something. So there's all these different vignettes. A dream.
It was so
I want to party
fun.
there. I love it. I'm obsessed. There's so many different parts, and they just skate through the whole thing together.
It does feel like it'd be really fun to skate. Like, especially, I just want to know what it would feel like over that water-looking part.
Absolutely.
Because it feels like you could, like, slide around and have some fun on that.
Yeah. And then there's this, like, ramp part that I saw it before they got on it. Are you going to die because of what happens at the end? Okay. When they were skating in front of it, I was like, oh, that's cool, the thing in the back. They should skate on that. There's no way they're going to get on that. Then they get on it. And I'm like, oh my god, one, they are struggle city.
They're like trying so hard to get up the incline.
Such a struggle for them, and I'm like, it's like, I'm like, oh my God.
Oh.
We should have movie magicked that, but we didn't. It's okay.
They're far enough away that you could have put in a stunt double.
Absolutely.
We would have believed it. It would have been fine.
But we just watch them struggle. And they like kind of have this little dancing moment, which is very cute.
Yeah.
Definitely love it. And then
they jump.
And then it ends as like a ramp launch, right?
Yeah. But
and so they go to skate off, and instead of
jumping
or jumping
pretending
down
to jump,
or pretending,
they just
keep skating, and then they just fly off, and then they float. They float so casually down,
and
as if nothing happened. They continue skating.
You can so see the string like pull them. They like wild off the ramp.
I was so ready for them to like jump off and land, and then I was like, what is this madness?
And like Olivia Newton-John is like going like this and holding the Sunny's hand and is like, she's just blind going, and it's just too much.
Okay, so then is it right after that it goes like wild, like you're literally tripping on acid?
Like the cartoon sequence.
Part, is that right? Is that
I think that's
from
during
that?
this sequences.
This sequence made me feel like I was on drugs.
It does. It really does, because all of a sudden they're animated.
All of a sudden, like
it's truly the most out of nowhere.
Like I was like, why are they animated? I don't know. And then they're animated and they're like dancing together, and then their animated characters turn into fish.
Yeah.
And then the fish turn into birds. And then what happens? Back into cartoon human?
Back into a cartoon human, kisses Sunny as a little bird, and then he turns back into a human.
Is there one point where they're in a rose and then they just disintegrate?
That's how it starts, is they come out of the rose and then they get closed back up into the rose. Which it really reminded me of one of my favorite cartoons growing up, Thumbelina.
It absolutely reminds me of Thumbelina. And like when they first get turned into the cartoons, I was like, is that Aurora? Like, is that Sleeping Beauty? I was literally like, it's Sleeping Beauty. And I was like, wait a second. No, it's not. I'm so confused.
I do wonder, like, what animators they hired for it.
Gotta be the same people.
Yeah, it has to be, like, a Disney
Gotta be the same people. They look exactly like the birds look like the birds in Cinderella.
Yeah.
Like, I was like.
The fish is like, that's out of The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. It was wild. It was at that point that I realized, why am I trying to figure out what's going on in this film? I should just let it be.
Yeah. I think the point where I lost it, and truly it was after one of my favorite numbers, the tap number, but Gene Kelly like picks up Olivia Newton-John and is spinning around with her in his arms, and it cuts to him and he's spinning around with no one in his arms. And it's the most jarring and funniest thing I have seen. It just like, it also makes you so sad because he's an aging Gene Kelly and you're like,
it is very sad.
God.
And now knowing it was his last film,
it's just like,
do you think he knew it was his last film? Or do you think he was like, well, Xanadu, that's it?
It definitely hurts my heart a little to know that this was so like negatively received and it was his last movie.
Yeah.
Because he was giving it his all.
He was absolutely, there is no question that Gene Kelly committed to this whole bit.
Hamming it up.
Like, absolutely.
True Gene Kelly. Like there's a part where he's like looking in the mirror and he's like mugging and like giving the face and he's like, you're getting old, buddy.
He literally says that. You're like, I mean, I love it. I'm not mad at it at all.
I just feel like he was definitely like, I think I should mention how old I am now. The audience might be upset if I don't talk about it.
And even like at the end, like he's like skating around Xanadu, which is the rink they end up like making together. And he's like big,
Yeah.
jolly, happy, like roller skating around
in a three-piece
in his
suit,
little outfit.
and his little spat skates.
Yes. Wild.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so do you want to know the part that I literally called someone today screaming because I have a bone to pick.
I want to hear it.
Okay, and I could be wrong. If I am wrong, please tell me because maybe I am wrong. The move, the Xanadu,
Yeah.
is not in the film. The roller skating Xanadu move is not in the film.
It's not in the film.
It's
at all.
not in the film at all. Where did that move come from? Where did the name come from? Why do we call it the Xanadu? Anyways, I literally called my friend Crystal and I said, Crystal, why are you making us do the Xanadu when it's clearly a lie?
For those who don't know the Xanadu, can you explain the
Yeah,
dance move?
so the Xanadu is a blender, which is like, you go like this,
Like, I don't know the.
and then you're like
Yeah.
this, and then you're spinning around.
Oh yeah.
And then in the Xanadu, what you do is you put your arms out,
Right.
and then you come back in, your arms out, you come back in.
I mean,
Not only do they not do the blender at all,
No.
they absolutely do not do the Xanadu, and I, quite frankly, am pissed.
that's like the thing is the blender is such an easy move that for
They
being
could do it.
terrible skaters, Olivia Newton-John and Michael Bett, they could have done it.
And maybe they did it, and I just didn't see it. I swear to God,
I did
I
not
watched
see
the
that
last
move at all.
roller skating sequence because I thought maybe someone in the background did it, right? Like,
Yeah.
they're doing really cool stuff. The roller skaters are actually so great. In that last roller skating scene, I was like, this is to die for. I love this.
That was like the best skating that you see in
The entire
entire
film.
And you wonder, where were these people
Where
the whole
were they?
time?
Where were they?
Why didn't you cast them as the main characters? And truthfully, that's my gripe with movie musicals in general, is casting big names or like famous people instead of just good singers and dancers, and in this case, roller skaters.
Yeah, and I don't know if maybe roller skating was just an afterthought of this film, and
Yeah.
the focus was more like
The singing,
Olivia
and dancing.
Newton-John can sing
Yeah.
and Gene Kelly can dance.
Right.
I don't know about this Michael Beck guy, but like it seemed like they
Yeah.
said Olivia Newton-John can sing, Gene Kelly can tap dance. Let's do it. But yeah, it was kind of
It was very
random.
random, yeah. The dance, or like, I just expected so much roller dance from this movie, or even just artistic
And the
skating.
roller dance that we did get was wild.
It was like,
It was like
it's like the Camp Rock.
it was
like-
it was absolutely like that.
But
And I was
they
like
say Xanadu instead.
and they were like, Xanadu. And I was like, what's happening? Like, this is wild. There was a shot in the film where it, like, focused on everybody's legs, and then they crossed the leg over, and then they just spun the front wheel. And I was
Yeah.
like, that was interesting.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
also, why? And then what was crazy is that they did one of those shots that filmers love to do. I'm guilty of it. Queer Girl Straight Skates has had several of these shots on the whole thing, but where you like get on the ground and you let all the skates pass. But it was like for a very long time.
Well, the one thing I did want to mention in the editing of this movie is you can tell how far editing has come.
Absolutely.
Not only in the transitions in this movie that just age it immediately, but just the long takes in general.
So many long takes.
What many people don't realize, just as like a lay person that watches film, is that editing has progressively sped up. The cuts are much faster now when you watch a movie, that when you are like, I can't watch old movies, I get bored. There's a reason for that. The cuts are so long, they can't keep your attention anymore because all you're used to is quick-paced editing. And they could not do that or achieve that with film editing. I don't know if this movie was shot on film. My guess is probably because of the time. But that would make a lot of sense for why the editing is so long and why the cuts are so long. And why it's like, well, I'm really bored of this scene right now.
Yeah. There were some, like, I thought that they did a really good job of pulling back and showing, like, how much dynamic motion was happening during the scene. Because I do think, like, honestly, like, as much as I'm, like, being a hater on the, like, skate choreography, I genuinely loved the choreography in this film.
Yeah.
And, like, loved seeing at a distance, like, all of the different levels of choreography that were happening. Because there were, like, dancers, and then there were, like, skaters moving around.
Right.
And then there was, like, all this other stuff happening.
Yeah.
And there were, like, platforms, and there was, like, you know, arguably the coolest rink I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's like a total, like, I can't even explain the shape of it, but you, like, weave in and out of these, like, giant, like, risers, basically, where different dancers or, like, musicians are playing and, like, jamming.
And then they just, like, change costumes, like, immediately, and there's, like, a huge group, and then, oh my gosh, in that end scene still, which is, like, clearly the finale, they've, like, created this roller rink, they've gotten so much attention, it's, like, they go from, like, having one vibe to, like, they, like, cut, and then they're just, like, all cowboys.
Yeah.
And, like, not just the performers are cowboys. They're everyone.
Everyone's a cowboy.
Like, everyone. Like, it's like a cut, and I was like, wow, how did that happen? And then it cuts again, and then they're different costumes.
It truly confused me so much. I was like, this seems like it should be the end number, but is this, like, more story that's, like, are these time jumps that are happening? Because the scene right before this is, like,
him going to talk
to Zeus in, like, Tron world, basically. Like, that's the best way I can explain it. Is it
that's
looks
such a good
like
description.
Tron.
It does look like Tron.
Like,
absolutely.
I feel like this could not have even been, like,
and he was like Zeus, and he was like, we don't use old names like that anymore.
So what is your name?
Never says a name that they go by.
There's also another moment like that where Kira's like, my real name is, and he kisses her, and they never reveal her real name. She never says it after that.
I forgot about that part. That part is where she's like, I'm a muse. I'm not real. I can't fall in love. Blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, no, shut up, woman.
Yeah.
And, like, kisses her. And it's like, you don't want this information?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't care. I just want to kiss you. What?
Men.
Men. I am dead.
Yeah, this is just one of those moments where I'm like, why is this movie about Sunny? It should be about Kira.
Absolutely. Because the character development for her is like, I am just a muse. And then she breaks the rules and falls in love.
Yeah.
And then she's like, can I just spend, like, one night or, like, even a lifetime? Like, it's like a blink of an eye. Can I just do it? And he's like, no. And then it's like, but maybe, because she shows up at the roller rink.
Right.
And then it's like, but I have to go. But then,
it was so...
But then he's served a drink by a waitress who is Olivia Newton-John.
This movie's so confusing.
I'm so confused.
It's so confusing. Yeah, and I also have to mention that how he gets to not Mount Olympus, but whatever the mount that they're supposed to be going to, where Zeus and the Muses are at, he skates into a wall to get there.
I forgot about that.
And I remember, like, him skating up to the mural, and I'm like, I really wanted him to go full speed into that mural and, like, hit it. Like, maybe that's, like, my sick brain, but I was like, I want him to go full speed at that mural, and then he did it, and I was like, no!
And it worked.
And it worked.
It was like a whole, like, platform, 19 3/4 or whatever.
Yeah, it's just so crazy how he gets there. But then he leaves. Zeus is like, no, go away. And then he's like, I guess you can go, Kira.
Well, because he says something, and then Zeus is like, says what he's gonna say. He's like, how did you know that? He's like, I am Zeus or God or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he goes, well then if you're God, you know that I'm not gonna leave here until hell freezes over. And then he's like, alright, Kira, I guess you can go then?
Yeah. Or no, what happens is Zeus's wife steps in, because that's what happens.
Oh, is that what the sparkly thing is?
Yeah, the wife is like, you remember being in love, right, Zeus? And it's like, no, he doesn't. He's God.
That's...
I don't know. I'm just like, God has a wife, question mark? Zeus has a... I mean, Zeus does canonically have a wife.
Yeah.
But then it's confusing because he's like, I don't go by Zeus anymore.
I don't go by those old-timey
who are
names.
you?
I'm a man in the sky. You must listen to me.
Here's a thought that I have.
Okay.
Why isn't Olivia Newton-John in Skates in the final number? I understand she's bad at it, but if it's her, like, character thing the whole time, and you give her 3 costume changes anyways,
And all of a sudden she's in heels?
just put her in Skates. Just, like, for a second.
And that's
so
why,
easy.
that's also bringing me back to the Xanadu, the move. I was expecting, because it makes sense that they would be on that platform, there's like a shot from above, that
Yeah.
they would do
They
a
would do
Xanadu
it.
move. But anyways, I really need to know where the Xanadu move came from, because
Did you see the Xanadu movie?
Did you see it?
Did we miss it?
Did we miss it? Is it there? Do you know what the
Wh-
Xanadu came from? Is it called
Yeah.
something else? Like, I'm mind blown by it. I'm
Yeah.
full stop. I can't handle it. I can't handle it.
I mean, the fact I did not even realize that until you pointed it out, and it is infuriating.
I was the most excited about this movie to see where the origin of the Xanadu move came from.
Yeah.
But clearly it's not the origin, or maybe it's like the play. Or did did they make a play before the movie?
No,
After
I
the
think
movie?
the musical came after the movie because, like, I don't think that the movie, like, I don't think it was based on a musical that did really well. I think this musical was based on a cult classic movie.
I do think that the last, like, I imagine when I was watching the movie, I imagine that it probably plays really well on the stage.
I agree because with musicals on stage, you can switch into those crazy, like, fantastical sequences, and you kind of just accept it because you're in a theater. Like,
yeah, it's gonna be something weird.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is almost always something weird. I mean, Cats.
Very true. Yes, absolutely.
To call
Cats.
back to a crazy thing that we talked about earlier. That's the most that I can compare watching this movie.
Yes.
Is to Cats.
Absolutely.
That's crazy.
And to think that we haven't even watched Starlight Express yet.
Oh man,
I can't wait.
I can't wait. And I know some people are like so die hard for that musical, and I've never seen it, and I'm very excited.
I'm excited and terrified.
Yeah.
It's really, overall, I just kind of thought I enjoyed the experience.
Yeah.
Because it was such a wild ride.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if it came out today, maybe I would be like, that was a terrible movie.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it was a terrible movie, and I'm not saying it's not a terrible movie. I just think it is an experience that maybe you should, like, know you're going to have an experience. And
Yeah.
that'll, like, mentally prep you for this movie.
I think if you're not a person that shies away from camp, cheesy things, if you like a cult classic movie, or if you like an 80s movie musical a la like Labyrinth or even Rocky Horror, I mean, I think that those are probably the closest in terms of like wacky movie musicals from the 80s. But this kind of like cranks it up a notch because it also has the elements from a 1940s movie musical that make it even crazier.
It is such a wild amalgamation of, like, things happening.
Yeah.
So many things
So
happening.
many things.
I put angsty emotional skating was relatable as Fuck.
Yeah. When Kira leaves and he's just like on this path skating
that's
by
what
himself.
it is. I was like,
he's like skating to the mural and like
yes, that is relatable.
Yeah.
I felt as though there were many relatable moments as a roller skater
Yeah.
to the moments that were in this film.
Mm-hmm.
Like I felt like I've done that before.
Yeah. I definitely, one of the things that I really want to do after watching this movie is like just skate to the soundtrack, because I was listening to the soundtrack on the way here and it is really great music. If you like ELO at all, or even like ABBA, I would say is probably another like really close comparison, you'll like this music in the movie. And there's also probably my favorite scene is when they're imagining Xanadu and it has the mashup of the 1940s music and the 1980s like rock and roll, and at a certain point they just come together and like mash up, and you're
very
like,
good.
First of all, I'm like, it took way too long to get to the mashup, in my opinion.
Way too long.
But when it was there, you were like, yeah!
Yes, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. I forgot about that scene.
Yeah.
I loved that. I feel as though, this is a hot take, but I feel, going back to kind of the like, roller skating existing but it not mentioning it's roller skating, to me Xanadu was like an idealistic world in which roller skating is so prevalent that it's kind of not even mentioned anymore. Like in the same way, this is a wild comparison, in the same way that Schitt's Creek just imagined that homophobia doesn't exist. Like Schitt's Creek was a show that demonstrated what a world where we just kind of accepted that being gay was part of the world and part of existence, and there wasn't homophobia in that show. I feel the same way about how Xanadu treats roller skating. Like, nobody's getting in trouble for skitching on the back of someone's van. Nobody's like mentioning or making a huge deal about the fact that people are roller skating. It's just like, oh, you're roller skating. Great. A bunch of us roller skate. We love the rink. This rink is going to be wildly successful just because roller skating is like an accepted part of the world. And so I think that that's what I love the most. If I was to pull one thing that I love the most about the movie, it's that. I think that if I were to redo this movie now, make it Kira the main character, and her whole like goal is to make Xanadu like a safe haven for roller skaters. Oh, I love that. That would be so cool. That would be so cool. We should make a parody. Yes. I was literally like, different parts of this movie, I was like, I want to remake that. Just kidding, I want to remake that. Like, I just want to make it. Like, I want to find some friends and like, I was like, I want to learn that choreography. Like, that was a consistent thought that I had throughout, which I guess is also something that's really cool and catchy about it. I think that people watching this movie could probably take away that roller skating is like an attainable hobby to have. Absolutely. Especially because like, they aren't like so great roller skaters. I mean, the craziest thing they do, they're like harnessed up and it's so fake that you don't think it's possible anyways. So I feel like it was probably something that could have inspired a lot of skaters, and I'm sure did. I actually love that, and I think thinking it through that, thinking through it in that perspective, I think it's actually pretty cool that they used people that weren't that great at skating. Because it just shows that roller skating, in all reality, like majority of people who do it aren't great. Like, they're not like super great at skating, and they weren't terrible at skating. They weren't good at skating, but like they looked like beginners or like newer people at skating. So to not only normalize roller skating as just like a part of the world, but also to normalize people as the main character in like a flawed state is actually kind of cool. Like, thinking about it that way, which I am aware is a whole 180 from what I said earlier in this video. But like, I do think thinking about it from that perspective makes it kind of a cool concept.
Yeah.
Like, I would maybe, like, train them to bend their knees and
Right.
not have him do, like, a toe drag as he's going down a hill.
Yeah.
Like, I would, like, those are some things that I'd be like, maybe don't. Like, don't run into people full force, like,
Right.
in the back. Absolutely not. So, like, there are definitely those things, but I kind of like the idea of it not being, like, the best, most incredible roller skaters.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is very different from just, like, the last movie we talked about where, like, the main character picked up roller skating in, like 2 seconds.
A literal moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is very different where, like, Olivia Newton-John is, like, a muse, so maybe you assume that she's been roller skating as long as it's been invented.
She just knows how to do things.
She just knows how to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so I guess that's Xanadu.
Yeah, I guess that's Xanadu. Before we wrap up, I do have one question I want to ask.
What is it?
Who is your skating muse?
Oh, what a good question, Sid.
Yeah, thinking about muses.
Who is my skating muse?
Or even artistic muse, whatever you like.
Oh, okay, so like, when I think about muse in general, and this is just me being like hooked on who I'm hooked on, but I do feel as though Queen Herbie is my muse right now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she like gets after it in a way that I feel like is so beautiful and raw and natural, and like is really like self like evaluates, and is just like I love that. So I think she's my like artistic creative muse.
Yeah.
And I think that my skating muse right now, I have to think about that. I definitely have one. I have many people who I'm like very impressed by their skating.
Right.
I feel like this is gonna be such like an answer, but I feel like the way Zelina skates, she's currently my skating muse because she does a lot of like flowy like dance skating, like in her dance skating that's kind of like, it's more like a sexual style of dancing, and I'm trying to kind of replicate that vibe for my like burlesque, like skating burlesque.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like I've watched a lot of her stuff just to see like, oh, how could I make myself in just like so many, you know, basic or more intermediate moves just look so fluid and like well done.
Yeah.
I think she does that really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What about you? Who are your muses or your muse?
Yeah, I would say my artistic muse, and honestly this goes back to like when I was a kid and watching my mom kind of take a lot of like Mexican American and like Chicano art classes. I really enjoyed like the Mexican art style. So I would say Frida Kahlo's always been a really big artistic muse for me. And when it comes to skating muse right now, I cannot get enough of Moko. Like anytime I see her skate is just like her like heart eye emoji.
I love it.
She just picks like the best spots, and like they're always so like creative and like really interesting looking that it always inspires me to just like, I'll be walking Cora, my dog, around our neighborhood, and I'm like, what about that? I'm like, I mean, I couldn't do it right now, but like,
you could
later.
in the future. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I love that they like inspire us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who inspires you? Who is your muse?
Yes.
I love that this is like a conversation about being a muse, and that's why she should be the main character.
Exactly.
Because she inspires the most conversation.
She does. I mean,
And also that outfit in the beginning is so cute. I want that dress so bad. I was like, should I dress like her? Just for once, like a cosplay moment.
I definitely
I feel like I could do
yeah,
it. Yeah.
I could do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I would love to have like a recreation of like the Muse, like I'm Alive scene, but only in skates.
I would die for a recreation of the I'm Alive Muse scene in skates.
Yeah.
I would die for that.
Seems like
that sounds incredible.
We have a project.
Amazing. I guess we have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody.
Wait. Oh, we haven't rated it on our.
Oh my God! I forgot.
Scale.
We have to rate it.
Yeah. Out of how many skates would you rate Xanadu?
How many numbers skates were there again?
There's like so many skates at the end. Oh, out of 10 skates.
Oh, out of 10
I thought
skates.
you were like in the movie? There's
No.
a lot.
Out of 10 skates, what did
Yeah.
we give Whip It?
I think we gave it an 8 out of 10.
Oh.
It was pretty high up on the scale.
Don't hate me. I think I'm gonna give Xanadu. I think, okay, if this helps, before we had this conversation and I realized the through pieces that were there, I would have given Xanadu a 4 skates.
Yeah.
But after the conversation and my more evolved understanding of like how they treated skating, I think I would give Xanadu 6 skates.
Yeah. When I was thinking about this, I was very torn because in terms of like just a skater, I was
Terrible.
not impressed.
Absolutely not impressed. 0 stars. I mean, 0 skates.
Yeah. As somebody who likes a campy movie, loves a movie musical, just likes to watch dancing in general, I would give it like a 6 or a 5. I think that you will like it if you just want to have a good time. You just want to watch something silly.
And then watch the movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%.
It will make it more enjoyable.
I also think that shopping scene should just be pulled out. If I could just watch the shopping scene and then the end scene,
yeah.
I think that those are the best parts of the movie. Oh, and
the tap number. Oh,
the
no.
mix-up and the tap numbers.
Yeah.
There's some good scenes. Yeah,
there's good numbers. Yeah.
Good numbers. Nice.
We're like all the dance scenes.
Like just making a bunch of dancing.
None of the plot. All the dancing.
Plot -8. -8 skates out of 10.
Yeah. Dancing and music. 10 out of 10.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So watch Xanadu
Let us
if you
know what
haven't
you
already watched it. Yeah, let us know what you think.
Yeah.
And tune in next month for whatever we end up watching next month.
What do you want us to cover?
Yeah, let us know. We want to know.
And
go get your skate clip.